Hello friends, this is Dr. Jyoti Saxena and I welcome you to my channel Biotechnology. Mushroom cultivation is one of the easiest and fastest ways to grow the nutritious food in the form of mushroom with the help of agriculture waste. So in this particular video, we'll see the basics of mushroom cultivation in very simple and scientific way. So let's start. What are mushrooms? So mushroom is a fruiting body of a fungus. So remember, this is not a plant, but this is a fungus, which is a microorganism. And they are not plant because they cannot perform the photosynthesis. They do not have any chlorophyll like a structure. So they cannot make their own food. Most of the members of order Agaricales, which belongs to Basidiomycetes, and also some other fungal species which have the guild structure. These are collectively known as mushroom. So mushroom is not just a single species, but there are many species which are edible, which are fleshy, which grow above ground, and which belong to fungi. So they are collectively called as mushrooms. So the main body of the mushroom is actually the network of the thread-like structure, which is called as the mycelium. And here, when the mushrooms grow wild, this mycelium is underground, so you cannot see that. What you see is the fruiting body or the reproductive body. They are saprophytes, that means they can grow on the dead organic material. Since they are living organisms, so they need energy, they need food. So this food they get from the dead organic material, and they obtain their food by secreting some digestive enzymes, and these digestive enzymes are excreted actually, and they break down the dead organic matter, whatever is present there on which they are growing, and then they absorb the nutrients. This particular feature make them very good decomposers. In fact, all the fungi are very good decomposers. So they also play very crucial role in nutrient cycling. Now let's see what actually is mushroom cultivation. Mushroom cultivation is a kind of controlled growth of edible fungi. This mushroom is actually the edible fungi which grows on the organic substrates, and here you have to provide the controlled atmosphere for the growth of the mushroom. So when you grow the mushroom, or when you grow this species, edible species, in a controlled condition, then this is known as mushroom cultivation. So unlike plants, they do not need any sunlight, so you can do the cultivation indoor also. So they need nutrients because they are living organisms, so they need food and energy which they get from the substrate which you provide. When we do the mushroom cultivation, we provide certain substrate. From there they get the nutrients. Humidity is very high here, so very high humidity is needed for the substrate also. It should be soaked in water, so high humidity is required, and air should be very clean. Lots of oxygen should be there, and there should be provision of that oxygen should come and carbon dioxide should go out. Light as such, sunlight is not needed. Very simple indirect light is sufficient, but for the fruiting body formation, a little dappled light is generally considered very good to trigger the fruiting body formation. Temperature also depends on the variety of the mushroom which you are cultivating. Generally they grow at low temperature, but sometimes some of the species can grow at high temperature also, and it works both for the large scale and small scale cultivation. Both kind of cultivation are done. Small scale is good for the low investment. Just if someone wants to start the mushroom cultivation, just from investing 1 lakh rupees or something, it can be started, and it is good for the landless workers, and they get the market which is local type of market they get for selling their product. But for the large scale cultivation of the mushroom, the higher infrastructure is required, the automation is required, and cost is also very high. And here the over the ear production is possible, and these kind of producers, they even export the mushroom, not only in different cities but also out of country. So in this picture you can see different type of mushrooms, all are edible. Some very common mushrooms are shown here, like the button mushroom, very commonly marketed. Shiitake is also one, oyster mushroom, so and many other mushrooms. Here you can see, and we'll discuss some of the species one by one. The first one is the oyster mushroom. Scientifically, this is known as Pleurotus austriatus, and here you see the picture. So in this picture you can see the fruiting bodies of oyster mushroom, which is commonly called as jingri. So these white cap like structures are the ones which are eaten, and this is very popular throughout the world. It is very popular, and it is very fast growing, and its cultivation method is also very easy, so that's why it is considered very good for the beginners. And it needs moderate temperature, and it is packed with protein, fiber and minerals, and it has low calories, so it is very good for the heart health and also for maintaining the weight. Then the next popular species is button mushroom. Scientific name is Agaricus biosporus, and here you see the picture. So this is the picture of button mushroom, and if you go to the market, most of the time you get this species, and it is most widely cultivated not only in India but throughout the world. And it has mild and earthy flavor, which is quite liked by the consumers, and it has high commercial value, and also it grows at low temperature. So if you want to cultivate it, then the low temperature requirement is there. And it also has vitamin B, selenium and lots of protein. In fact, all the mushrooms have lots of proteins, and this one is also low in calories, so very good for the health. Then third one is the paddy straw mushroom. Its scientific name is Volvariella volvaceae. And now let's look into the picture. So here you can see this kind of fruiting bodies are there in paddy straw mushroom. So why this is known as paddy straw? Because it grows on paddy straw beds. So that's why this is known as paddy straw mushroom. It has very short growing cycle, just 10 to 15 days. Imagine in 10 to 15 days you can get one crop ready for harvesting. And it is tropical. A little higher temperature is needed for its growth, 25 to 28 degrees centigrade. So that's how it is different from the other two which we discussed. And this needs humid climate like other mushrooms also. 80 to 85% moisture should be there, and this is rich in vitamins and proteins. Then the next one is shiitake mushroom, Lentinula adhogis. So that is the name. Let's see the picture. So here you see the texture is quite different from the others. And now let's see its features. It has medicinal value, it is good for the health, and also it has culinary value. That means it is used in cooking and it is preferred by the chefs. And it grows on wood or sawdust very easily. It has many bioactive compounds, and that's why it has many health benefits. And this one has high market demand, of course, obviously, because it has medicinal value also, and it is very good for the cooking as well. And the next one is the milky mushroom, Calocybbe indica. Let's see the picture. So here you can see this is just white, milky white in color. That's why it is known as milky mushroom. Its features are that it is native to India, and that's why the species name is indica. And it is very popular everywhere. Actually, it is very popular, and it is white in color, milky white in color, very thick and meaty texture. You can see the thick texture here. So this can be very good alternative for the meat, and it is ideal for tropical climate. So that means very low temperature is not needed, just moderate or tropical temperature is good. And high protein, fibers and minerals are there in this particular mushroom, so it's very good, and it has medicinal value also. So these are some of the mushrooms which are commonly marketed and which are commonly cultivated. Now let's see what are the raw materials required if we want to cultivate the mushroom. The first thing is that the substrate is required, because if you want to grow the edible fungi or the mushroom, it needs some food, and that food it will get from the substrate. So substrate you have to provide should be either the paddy straw or the wheat straw or the sawdust. So any of these can be taken. Then mushroom spawn is another very important requirement. Like when you want to grow the plant, you need a seed to sow. So here the mushroom spawn is a kind of seed for the mushroom cultivation. And clear water, clean water is needed, because you have to soak the raw material substrate in it. And polythene bags are needed for packing, or the trays can also be used. Then clean humid environment should be there where you want to cultivate it. Now let's see how the substrate preparation is done. So first we have to take the straw, that has to be chopped. 3 to 4 inches is good enough, and then it is soaked in the water for 6 to 12 hours, sometimes even more than that. And when we take the straw, this is kind of very dry, so we have to do the soaking. That is very important, and excess water is drained. When you soak it for such a long time, then there may be some water dripping, so that has to be drained, but 60 to 70% moisture should be retained. And substrate may be pasteurized or sterilized to reduce the contamination. There is always the problem of growing of blue mold, which is a contamination. So that, to avoid that this straw should be pasteurized, which is done at low temperature of about 60 to 72 degrees centigrade for 1 to 2 hours, or it can be sterilized at high temperature 121 degrees centigrade for at 15 pound pressure. So both can be done. And then the next is pH adjustment, because it is a kind of fungi which is growing, so you have to do the buffering at 6 to 7.5 pH, and the lime is used generally for the adjustment of pH. And here you see lots of trays are there, many trays, and the straw is there, and the water is there. So here you see that the substrate is prepared by soaking in the water. Then the next one is, how do we do spawning? So this is very crucial step, or the fundamental step of the mushroom cultivation. Then what is actually spawn? Spawn is a carrier. Usually we take grains to colonize the mycelium of the mushroom. So that is the spawn. And then what is spawning? It's a process to allow the mycelium to spread. Then after that it will colonize, and it will digest the nutrients in the substrate for its growth. So that is spawning. And then it is filled in the bags or beds, mostly in the layers. So the mixing can also be done, but mostly in the layers. And bags we take for the indoor cultivation, and beds are generally prepared for the outdoor cultivation or the cultivation in the sheds. Then proper hygiene is of course very important to prevent the contamination. We already talked about the contamination. And different type of spawns can be formed. The first one is the grain spawn, which is very common. So rye or millets or the wheat, these are the grains which can be taken for growing the mycelium and making the spawn. Then sawdust can also be used. Then we'll call it the sawdust spawn, or the liquid spawn, in which we are not going to take any substrate, but just the liquid and the nutrients in it and here the mycelium will grow. And the last one is the dowel or the plug spawn, where the wood pieces are used. And I'll show you the pictures. So here this picture is just showing how the spawning is done. So this is the substrate and this is the spawn, which is having the mycelium growth. So that will be mixed here. So next we'll see the pictures of different spawns. So the first one is the grain spawn. Here the wheat is taken, and on the wheat this white thing is the mycelium of the mushroom. And this one is the sawdust spawn. So here the sawdust is there and the same white mycelium you can see. This is the liquid one. So if you zoom it, then you will be able to see that it is just the water along with the nutrients and the mycelium. And this is the dowel or the plug, which is nothing else but the wooden pieces. So now the next step is incubation. Incubation period is the one where when you will give time for the growth of the mycelium, and then after that the fruiting body will be formed. So first the inoculated bags or the beds, they should be placed in dark, because for the growth of the mycelium you don't need light, and the 22 to 25 degree centigrade temperature and 80 to 90% humidity should be there in the environment. Then these are left for the mycelium to grow. Mycelium will grow by its own. You don't need to do anything. It takes around 10 to 25 days. Then white cottony mycelium will spread throughout the substrate. Then you can say that the spawn has been formed. And of course, in between, every day you have to do the monitoring so that there is no contamination. Once the substrate is fully colonized, the temperature and humidity is adjusted a little bit so that the fruiting body should start. Then for the fruiting body to take place, the light should be there. As I already said, that the dappled light is the best one. And here, of course, the light is needed only to trigger the mushroom cultivation or mushroom formation, fruiting body formation. And small pinheads will appear first, and eventually they will develop into the mushrooms. So here you can see the picture. In this picture you can see the small pinheads also, and also some of the mushrooms which are already grown up or mature. Then once all these things are done, then you have to do the harvesting. So mushrooms are harvested at the right maturity stage, and this stage is before they drop their spores. So before the dropping of the spores starts, they should be harvested. And harvesting is done by holding the base. So there is a stalk. So you have to hold the base, and then after that either you have to twist it very gently, or you have to cut it using any knife or something. But it should be done very gently because these are very tender. And multiple flushes can be obtained from one bed. That is, very good thing about the mushroom cultivation, that once you have prepared the bed, many harvestings can be done. So many flushes can be obtained. And sorting by size is done, size and quality is done at this time before it is marketed. And the premium quality mushrooms are generally more expensive than the average one. And then the packing is done in the breathable containers, which should have hole, or the plastic bags. Now at last we have to see that okay, we have done the cultivation, but what is the importance of mushroom cultivation? First thing is that very low investment is needed. If you have just 1 lakh rupees or something like that, then you can start the cultivation. And another thing is that it uses agriculture waste, which you can get very easily. So you do not have to buy the raw materials. And it is environmental friendly, of course, because no chemicals are used, and very easily, in natural way you are growing it. So it is environmental friendly. and it is rich source of proteins and nutrients. Lots of proteins and lots of nutrients are there in all of the mushrooms, but of course some has more medicinal value, that is another thing. And it generates employment opportunities also. Self For the self employment, this is very good. So I think that's all for the mushroom cultivation video, and thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel to see more information on the mushrooms and many other microbiological and biotechnological topics.